What is the most a dollar has ever gotten to you? My great grandma used to give all of her great grandchildren a dollar every time she saw us. It was a sweet gesture, and all of us great grandchildren would love seeing her and enjoying the free money. She's recently been moved to a nursing home due to the risk of falling because her body is extremely weak. She's 95. I moved in with my boyfriend in August and went through my things while I packed. I found, concealed in a child's Bible, $1 wrapped in a note which read, "Dear baby, smile away, I can't wait until you're born. Here's your first dollar, make sure mommy keeps it. I love you very much." A few weeks later, my mom, sisters and I went to visit her in the home, as my mom is her primary caretaker. I pulled the dollar from my pocket and read the note aloud. My great grandma's eyes lit up and she beamed. "Oh wow, look at that," she said. "I'm glad mommy didn't spend it all." It was a pretty priceless moment. Edit, added a missing great. Edit 2, whoa, platinum and silver? Thank you. You guys are so sweet. Glad I could make you smile. Final edit, keep your loved ones close. I bought a McDonald's burger for this homeless guy near my old job. The guy was grateful, so he taught me how to make origami cranes and we became friends. Fast forward follow up, he got back on his feet and now has a nice apartment and a really annoying, yappy dog. Teaches craft classes at a local community center. He teaches crafts, that is. His dog doesn't teach, that be silly. Asterisk that be awesome. That's awesome. It's great to hear about the nice people like you. Not a dollar but 60p. Got me 2 donuts from Sainsbury's which I enjoyed with my mate when we went to a football match, probably the most I've ever appreciated a food item. That 60p was literally all I had left in my bank account. I don't know if this counts, but I went to a local casino a few years ago and I was down to my last $2. I was halfway out the door defeated, but I walked by a row of cheap slots. I found a 20-line game at 1 penny per line, so I put the last of my money in the machine, and I had a decision to either bet 20 cents, 40 cents, 60 cents, 80 cents, $1 or $2. I only had enough money in there for one spin at maximum bet, but I kinda wanted to make what little money I had last. I decided at 40 cents a spin. To win the jackpot on this machine, you needed to get the top symbol, which was a race car I think, across an entire line for it to hit. The reels are spinning. It felt like slow motion. The 5 race cars landed across the center line. Some old guy sitting next to me who had been playing there starts freaking out. "You just hit the jackpot." I got really excited, but then the money stopped counting after $80. Turns out you needed to be playing maximum bet, $2 a spin, in order to trigger the jackpot. Instead I won $80 off a 0.40 cent wager. When I was 16 my aunt and uncle wanted to give me an old hand-me-down car that both my cousins used when they first got their licenses, but because of tax purposes, it made more sense to sell the car to me. I bought my first car for $1. Once bought a beer for €1. Turns out you get a raffle ticket with each drink. Long story short, I won a surfboard. What did you do with a surfboard? Trade it for beer. When I was in high school I lived near a grocery store that sold packs of 10 cookies for $1. On the few occasions I had $1 to spare, my parents were very reluctant to give me money unless it was for school. My favorite thing to do was go there after school/sports practice, buy a pack, and eat them on the swings at the nearby playground. A couple years ago, I was back home for the holidays and decided to recreate the tradition for old time's sake. To remember a simpler time in my life. At this point, I was late in college with a steady job. Thus, I could easily afford to spend $1. I went to the same store, bought the same type I always did, located the same swing in the same park I always sat on, and prepared for a nostalgia overload. And let me tell you, the cookies were terrible. If you have the means, Treat yourself better than 10-cent cookies. Edit. Thank you for the gold, kind stranger. This is the precise reason why I won't recreate my middle school weekends. A $5 giant can of Monster, $4 2-pound box of mini brownies, followed by hyperactive nausea while biking on hiking trails. Living that pure cow life. Bought an interesting looking silk blouse at a pay by weight Goodwill outlet $0.99 per pound, so was less than $1 technically, since it weighed mere ounces and -X200B turned out to be rare vintage Versace. Sold it for around $700. Nice, a hell of a come up. Im Hunton. Okay. To preface this, we grew up really poor and every now and then we would go to this cheap store where everything is expired and my mom would let me and my siblings, there's 4 of us, have $1 to spend, and so we would try to make it count, and I think the most I ever got was a sucker, a Tootsie Roll, an apple juice box, and 8 gumballs. Sounds like a sweet fucking haul for $1. Man, back when things were cheaper. I remember I used to get 4 bags of chips with $1, now they're 50 cents a bag. Though recently I saw at Walmart they were almost $1. I was like, 100 Swedish fish. My local public pool sold them by the penny when I was a kid. My mom would send us in with enough money for admission, and if we were lucky enough that she gave a large bill to break for change, we'd go to the concession stand. Treats at home were rather scarce, so I cherished any candy I could get my hands on at the pool. It's one of my sweetest memories, in a literal and figurative sense. Played a game at a fundraiser that had £1 entry. Had to slide the coin as close to the bottle as possible. Ended up winning 1.5 liters of brand vodka. The following weekend me and some friends went camping for a few days. Safe to say, that bottle went to good use. $92. Worked a coat check at an auction and we weren't supposed to have a tip jar. Well, someone placed an empty glass on the counter and eventually someone else thought it was a tip jar and started tipping. I said nothing. It got so full that I had to empty it, and then people no longer tipped because it was just an empty cup and -X200B, so I put $1 back in, which made people assume it was a tip jar again, and then the tips came flowing again. Second wave of tips made $92. So putting $1 back in made me $92 and -X200B. I regret absolutely nothing. This is psychology. My sister learned this in class and used it when she worked a concession stand one summer. She threw $1 in and customers started tipping. I traded a bunch of $1 coins for $2 coins when my little brother was dumb enough to believe that because they were bigger, the $1 ones were worth more. Mine was led to think shininess was value. That's because he was the higher primate. When I was very young, around 6, I think, I was sitting on a curb trying and failing to play my new toy guitar when an old man put $1 bill at my feet. I was absolutely flabbergasted and tried to give it back to him, but he explained he was tipping me. I was then introduced to the wonderful and lucrative world of busking, from which I have received lots of enjoyment and cash in recent years. I want to be an artist in a park working on pieces with a hat by my feet for tips. But my local park requires you to buy a permit to do that sort of thing, and it's like $200. Is there a nearby park or other public place that doesn't have that requirement, or at least is worse at enforcing it? I once used a single dollar to buy about 100 bottles of soda and $25 in quarters over the course of several weeks. There was a vending machine at my old school that dispensed sodas. They had it for 3 years. There was a flaw in the system. Basically, you could put $1 in and quickly yank it without ripping it. If you timed it right, the system registered the $1. For every 2 times you did this, you got 1 soda and 1 quarter for free. I did this 100 times in a row without getting caught by staff or students or fucking it up. I could have told the popular kids, or at least sold them vending machine soda at a reduced price for a profit, but fuck those guys. They bullied me very frequently. I was sad to see the vending machine was gone when I came back for senior year. They claimed they got rid of it because it promoted unhealthy diets, but they still let us bring in outside soft drinks to class. Edit 1. Even though I used the same dollar to buy 100 sodas, I didn't buy them all at once. It was over a long period of time where I used the exploit without failure. Edit 2. Holy shit, I did not expect this to blow up. Thank you for my most upvoted comment. I once bought a bag of chips and left it at coworker's desk for her day. We were all broke, so I just spent 75 cents on her favorite kind. She was thousands of miles from home and apparently having a terrible time, and was so moved by the tiny gesture she opened up to me. I'm a straight woman. This isn't a then it got sexy thing, but it was a huge payoff for such a small gesture. In England, so it's £1 paid for a homeless person's burger at Max's when his voucher was out of date. Some kind of dad hipster watches it happen and offered me a job on the spot with his design company, didn't care that I wasn't qualified. Worked there for 2 years before I moved on to freelance UX, left on good terms, and each UX work my way from time to time. So I guess that pound got me £38k before tax. About $200 at a slot machine. Bought a raffle ticket for $1 and ended up winning an advent calendar of Jim Beam whiskers valued at $45. It was only 12 days worth, and I drank it all on the first day, got really drunk, and banged a chick who got pregnant, and now I'm in crippling debt because she had a baby and left me and filed for child support. Best $1 ever. I want to have a beer with you. That's how you get pregnant. Weren't you paying attention? A friendship and NBSP. To clarify, I live in Europe and we actually don't have dollars here. When I came back from New York I had some dollars left and had them in my wallet still for a long time, even when I forget about them from time to time. Once I was talking to a girl I met and started talking about America. She had never been there, and I remembered that I had $1 in my wallet. I gave it to her and she was really happy, still talking to her to this day, only a bit less than we used to, but safe to say I can call her a friend of mine. $1 for a friendship is definitely worth it. That's so fucking adorable. This gave me secondhand happiness. OMG, I literally commented this just cause it made me feel all fuzzy inside. Thanks for the first silver. €1, not $1, but still, about 5,000 low quality earplugs. They do the job fine. I still have like a 100. I don't know where the rest went. How do you get 5,000 earplugs for €1? €1 for parking the getaway car and then rob the hardware store. I bought a cookie for $1 at a bake sale, didn't really want it later on. Gave it to a lady I worked with, she loved me for it. I was her favorite after that. That lady was my asshole of a boss. Best $1 ever. I was expecting a porn plot, but I got wholesome employees instead. The way this thread is going, I expected him to get the lady pregnant. McChicken with mac sauce didn't get charged for the mac sauce. Beautiful. Lived in Oregon for a while with no sales tax. Nice to be able to go in with a $1 bill and walk out with a McChicken. Same in Delaware, $0.99. Arizona iced tea is actually 99 cents. I found a huge book at this hole in the wall thrift store. It basically diagrams and explains everything about how an automobile works, but it was printed in the early 80s, so pretty out of date. However, it still taught me quite a bit, and I'm essentially invulnerable against mechanics trying to fuck me. The knowledge was worth way more than $1 Reddit trying to find it. So I can disclose the correct title. Title is Automotive Principles and Service, published by Reston Publishing Company Incorporated. 1980. Okay, I give. It's fixed. It's not outdated. If you buy a car from the early 80s, hell yeah, I'd even be able to maintain it yourself. I was working retail, and one of the old ladies who used to come in and look at the TVs in my department while they waited for it to be time for the bus back to their independent living facility came over all faint. She asked if I had anything sweet she could have. I got a Coke from the drinks machine in the break room and she drank it slowly, holding onto my arm. My manager had called her an ambulance and they loaded her up and took her away. Diabetic. The EMT said the Coke was just the thing for her and slapped me on the back. I still remember her little wave as she left. She lived. I didn't save her life or anything, but that dollar made the difference between her getting into the ambulance conscious and with dignity versus unconscious and sick. She said later, when I visited her at the hospital, that she might have had to move from independent to assisted living without it. So that was a good dollar. Best soda I never drank. This is amazing. You say you didn't save her life, but who knows, you could have done. If she'd have slipped into a diabetic coma or something, there's a chance they might not have been able to get her back. Well done you. You should be mega proud of yourself. I won $40 off of a $1 scratcher once. That was an awesome surprise.